Hi everybody, this is your overview for Module 6, Online Assessment and Evaluation. But before we jump into talking about the assignments for Module 6, we'd like to share a few general comments. First of all, you had 2 weeks for completing Module 5, and we do realize that a couple of the groups are still putting finishing touches on their presentations, all perfectly normal. Just know that Module 6 is a 1-week module and that we need to get moving on that while providing those finishing touches to Module 5 still. The good news, though, is that Module 7 will be another 2-week module due to the Thanksgiving holiday, and not because it takes any longer, as was the case for Module 5. So you all should get a breather then. Another comment we'd like to make is that we need you all to make sure that you always provide exact assignment numbers when you message us about late submissions or work that needs rechecking. We sometimes get things like, my assignment is ready to check or to recheck, and then we have to do a little research to figure out what you mean in those cases. Also, when you need help, it would help us to let us know what assignment or task you need help with so that we can prepare to contact you. And also what would be a good time and method to contact you so that we don't need to do a lot of back and forth messaging to figure out when we can call or do a hangout. So both of those would help us a lot and make things smoother and also less work for you as well. Well, with that, let's jump into Module 6. So with Module 6, you have the usual 3 assignments, a discussion, a portfolio project, and a reflection. The main thing not to neglect with Module 6 is the reading. Be sure that before you begin any of the assignments that you have a good understanding of something called Tuttle's stages, which is well covered in the reading. You will be referencing Tuttle stages in both the discussion and in the portfolio project. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to a screen sharing in PowerSchool to show you where and how this integration of Tuttle stages will occur in your work. So give me a minute to switch over. Hi everybody, I'm back and we're on the Module 6 landing page in PowerSchool. So as we look through here, let's check out a few things. First of all, you know how I mentioned this is another 1-week module. So on Thursday, which is just a couple days away, you should have read Module 6 reading and also put your initial discussion post on board in PowerSchool. And then this coming Sunday, your discussion replies and your portfolio assignment and Module 6 reflection are all due. Really focus on getting the discussion initial post in there and your discussion reply posts on time. If you are running behind because of Module 5, those are your priorities in Module 6 right now. We can live if you're a day or two late on getting the other parts done, especially since you'll have 2 weeks on Module 7, and that one is not a longer module. It's just we did the 2 weeks because of the Thanksgiving break. Okay, so let's look at these assignments. So if you move on down here below the textbook reading icon and link, here's Module 6.1 assignment. Okay, so you're going to in assignment 6.1, you're going to read 2 different readings. The first is a blog post, and this one's actually done by Mr. Harry Tuttle, the guy with these Tuttle stages we want you to pay close attention to. And what he's talking about are stages that you use for feedback while students are doing formative assessments. And so read the blog post by Tuttle. You'll get a good idea of what Tuttle stages are, and you already have some of that from your reading. And then second, you're going to read another reading, but this one's an article posted by the Catholic Schools Archdiocese of Milwaukee. Can't talk this morning. Anyway, and what they've done is they've taken Tuttle's stages and then tied those stages to some current Web 2.0 tools to give you an idea of how that's done, because you're going to be doing that in your assignment 6.2. But in any case, you'll get an idea of how that works and what those Web 2.0 tools may look like in a formative assessment environment. For your discussion post, you're going to identify a single Web 2.0 tool that you will use as a formative assessment to evaluate student learning and describe how you would use it to meet learning objectives. And here are those Tuttle stages. So you'll have to pick which Tuttle stage it connects with, and it might connect with more than one stage. So that will be your discussion post. For 6.2, your portfolio assignment, you're going to create an entire assessment plan for a unit of study. So I'm going to show you an example when we're done talking here about that would show you one assessment plan that was done by a participant in an earlier cohort. So you have a clear understanding of what's expected, but basically you're going to create a unit of study, and you can see you have some elements in part 1 here, and you're going to identify your audience, your objectives to be covered, the standards, including Common Core standards if they apply. And but if you teach a subject that is not Common Core, for example, like a career technical subject, you can use the standards from that if you need to. And then what activities will comprise your unit of study? Then you're going to create a formative assessment plan. Actually, that part 2 should say formative. I'm going to go back in a minute and fix that. And then a summative assessment plan for part 3. So in your formative assessment plan, you're going to pick 3 different formative assessments, each highlighting a Web 2.0 tool and how it ties in with Tuttle stages. So you're going to have 3 of these, and then you're going to also have a summative assessment that students would complete at the end of the unit of study. And here you don't have Tuttle stages to worry about. You're just going to create the summative assessment, design a rubric that goes with that summative assessment that shows at least 3 different criteria that you're evaluating. And then you're going to, with just this, the formative assessment, create a student work sample. Now, if you have an actual student's work sample, wonderful, use it. But if you don't, just create kind of a fake student formative assessment work sample that you could then show an example of what a student would complete at the end of this unit. So I'm going to click here. We've got several samples from other cohorts of these assessment plans. This one is a high school example, and I'm just going to click that, and now we're jumping over to a Google Doc, but you could use a Microsoft Word online document or something else to place this in. So here you could see the initial audience is stated, the objectives, the standards are stated. You could see that 3 formative assessments and a summative assessment are briefly described here, but as you go further, you'll see that each formative assessment is actually shown. What tool is used is shown as well, and a complete description of Tuttle stages as that Web 2.0 tool and that formative assessment would work. And then here we go on to formative assessment 2, same things. In this case, they're using video notes as their Web 2.0 tool. Some instructions for the student are included, and then what Tuttle stages and a screenshot of what that would look like. And then formative assessment 3, same thing. They're using Google Draw here. Here are the stages of Tuttles explained to go along with that, etc. And then down at the bottom, you'll see the summative assessment is shown, what the students would complete, some prompts, what the rubric is, which you would supply to the students so the student would know how they're going to be assessed, And then that's it. And then finally, we have the actual student essay in this case. And this is, I'm not sure if this was a real one or not. It doesn't matter to me. To us, we don't mind. You just need to provide something so we could see what the student assessment would look like. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our work screen, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, so that takes care of that. And then you have your reflection, 6.3. In this module, you are, of course, looking at formative and summative assessments for online and blended learning environments. So for your reflection, you're going to reflect on what factors are you now realizing you need to consider. And be sure that your reflections are always in the 300 to 500 word length, and that you cite any sources that are not your own, etc. And then finally, for the last part of your reflection, tie in, as you have been for each module, either to the online or blended learning INACOL standards. And with that, I'm going to close out here. So I'm going to stop my recording. And with that, we will launch you into Module 6, and we hope that you enjoy the learning. Please reach out to us if you have any questions at all. Don't wait to do that. Bye-bye.